significant trees, and there's this weird energy too when you get in within.
Where is that? Guys, I think
It does, doesn't it? Do you feel like all around my face feels...
That's easy,
that's a 9, bro.
That's a 10.
That's a 9.
Bro, that wasn't steps, that was like a jump.
The first video tonight comes from Medium Vibrations, a paranormal investigation channel focused on EVP sessions, spirit communication experiments, and capturing possible audio responses using technical equipment in remote or abandoned locations. It is July 25th, 2024, at a remote derelict property in North America.
Why are you here? Did you hear that? That's scary. Oh, I'm gonna ask you again. Why are you here? Do you ever leave this area, or are you trapped here like you said? Why are you trapped?
Check out.
Are you angry, or are you happy? Like, what emotion are you feeling?
Purity.
Do you want us to wait for Amy to get back?
Therapy, and then to make.
Because I heard you say help earlier. How do we help?
The investigation begins with the team already treating the location as active. Questions are directed toward an unseen presence almost immediately, focusing on why something may be trapped there and whether it wants help. That establishes the tone early, not exploration first, communication first. The mention of a faint earlier plea for help also frames the environment before any direct response is captured.
He gets killed that week.
Did you die here?
Situation.
Oh, you heard that right there? Yeah. Are you afraid?
Western.
Did you hear that? Something over there.
While moving through the surrounding overgrowth, the team hears something large moving nearby. A natural explanation is considered immediately, but the timing keeps attention focused on the environment around them, rather than the equipment alone.
There's this weird energy too. When you get within 15 feet of it, you start to feel something, and the closer you get, the more your gut sinks. So, interesting. Are you here with us?
The tone darkens further when the investigator asks whether they are standing over a body. The response, dropped, comes through the equipment shortly after. Again, the impact comes from timing rather than certainty.
Was that you that just did that?
Telepathy.
We're, like I said, we're trying to be friendly here, and draining me isn't gonna do you any good with that. So please try not to drain me.
Put this right.
After another audio response referencing a big blade, the lead investigator reports a sudden drop in energy and increasing exhaustion. The session becomes less focused on questioning and more focused on managing the effect the environment is reportedly having on the group. This one is structured around progression through communication. Question, response, interpretation, then escalation in atmosphere and behavior. Nothing physical is confirmed visually, and every response still depends on how the audio is interpreted afterward. But the investigation holds tension because the replies gradually become more specific while the team's reactions become less controlled. By the end, the focus shifts away from proving anything paranormal and toward the possibility that the location itself may be tied to something violent or unresolved. Before we move on, if you're enjoying the video so far, leaving a like really helps. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. We recently passed 50,000 subscribers, and that's entirely because of you. The next target is 100,000 before the end of the year. Ambitious, but worth aiming for. There's a hidden word somewhere in this video. See if you can spot it. Now, let's continue. The next horrifying video comes from Maurice's Paranormal Adventures UK, an independent paranormal investigation channel focused on raw explorations of abandoned historic buildings and alleged spirit activity using EVP sessions, K2 meters, and real-time observation. It is January 9th, 2023, in 5 Enduro Cottage, United Kingdom.
You get like a static all over your body. That's what I feel, like a static all over my face.
Do you know what she's like? You know that woman in black?
I think it was a woman who used to have this before the man bought it, you see.
Yeah, there's definitely
Yeah. Look at this, I love this. I love this.
Almost immediately after entering the cottage, the investigators report a noticeable atmospheric shift. The environment feels heavier and more uncomfortable the farther they move inside. Maurice describes a static-like sensation across his skin, while also claiming his beard feels electrically charged. That becomes the first major change, because the focus moves from documenting the location to reacting physically to it.
Oh no, it's clear as anything now. Yeah, she was in that doorway, she's gone round. It's focusing now, it's alright. She seems to be.
You can smell the strong smell of burn.
Someone's had a fire recently.
Yeah, it's really
You can
strong.
see where it's burnt down there, there's some cans and a bit of a fire in the corner, it's all fresh and blackened. Someone's evidently had a little love nest.
Stairs and knackered.
I don't think upstairs it's going to be.
You can get upstairs in the other rooms, but you obviously have to be really careful.
I think we'll probably stay now. Another one through there. Well, that looks like it's
That's where
kitchen
it
or
was a lot
something.
bigger, yeah. It's like it's been burnt down over the years. But I don't know what it is, them blinds there get me. I like the pictures in them.
They're Egyptian, aren't they?
It's like they're an archer.
Oh no, it's Roman, because that's somebody in a chariot. That's
The staircase becomes another clear transition point. As they move upstairs, both investigators begin describing pressure on the chest and difficulty breathing comfortably. The atmosphere upstairs is treated differently from the lower floor, not because of visual activity, but because their behavior becomes increasingly tense once they reach that section of the building.
It looked taller, like it went straight past.
Well, when I was out there and I filmed up at that door, and there was just a black mass as tall as the door frame.
Yeah.
And that's all I saw, was just a black mass.
It's a big guy then.
Oh yeah. Well, he's bigger than door frame, so he's over 6'2". Standard door frame's 6'2" normally, although it is a cottage, I suppose. Might be slightly smaller.
This cottage is quite big, you know. When you walk out of here and go around, you can obviously see what's been burnt down, but inside, the wall's still outside. And then you go to the back and there's like an old stone garage. It's kind of the same stones that's outside, you know, on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and have a look after.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's like people have been putting stuff in it.
I can't get that to load at all.
Not working.
No.
Look, I've got it on.
I'll have to go with Atlas.
ITC Legion Paralis loaded. Scanning.
So we're just going to use a couple of apps now, just to try and bring something on this way they can communicate with words.
The final escalation centers around a room where the K2 meter begins reacting repeatedly during questioning. As the device spikes, Maurice reports feeling physically weak and unstable while continuing the session. The investigation shifts almost entirely toward interaction attempts at this stage, with the team interpreting the responses as signs of direct engagement with the location. This one is driven by progression in atmosphere and reaction. Entry, then physical discomfort, then visual impressions, then escalating responses through equipment. Nothing is fully confirmed visually, and much of the tension depends on interpretation of sensations and device activity. But the structure holds because the investigators gradually become more affected by the environment the deeper they move into the cottage. By the end, the location stops feeling like an abandoned building being explored and starts being treated as an active space the team believes is responding to them directly. The next chilling video comes from Mr. Mountain Beast, an adventure and historical exploration channel focused on long-distance treks into remote backcountry locations tied to forgotten ruins, mining camps, and obscure historical legends. It is December 14th, 2025, in a remote mountain canyon near the Colorado-Wyoming border, United States. The expedition begins with a historical claim rather than a visible location. The explorer introduces the legend of the Shadow Walker, an alleged German operative connected to hidden activity in the Rockies during the early 1900s. After identifying a possible structure through satellite imagery, he begins a long hike into isolated mountain terrain under freezing conditions.
This area has an extreme population of grizzly bears and cougars, so... Wow. Big old tree just fell on the top of it. What is this building? It's so slippery. I do not want to fall and break a leg out here. I'm 10 miles in. If I broke a leg, this would be the end.
The first cabins are eventually located. Construction quality stands out immediately, with the explorer noting how different the structures feel compared to normal frontier ruins. Tight woodwork, geometric flooring, and signs of deliberate engineering shift the focus from simple abandonment to organized occupation.
This is what freaks me out. You never know. There's someone camping out. Hello? I'm coming in. There's no footprints, so I think it's safe. Whoa. You guys. Look at the old flooring. Crazy design. Heck yeah, let's go in. Coming in, guys. I'm coming in. This thing's so hard to cock. I'm coming in, guys. Holy crap. There's a secret space in the attic.
Underneath the floorboards, a hidden crawl space is uncovered. The environment becomes tighter and more unstable as he descends into the confined area searching for evidence tied to the legend. Bones, debris, and old artifacts are discovered in near darkness, briefly raising concern that human remains may be present.
Again. And it's definitely burned. Look at that. I see even the maker's mark right on top there. Holy crap. Looks like a sniper gun. Can anyone tell me any info on this thing?
The key discovery comes through a damaged rifle hidden beneath the cabin, burnt, warped, and partially destroyed. The condition of the weapon aligns with the story that evidence was intentionally destroyed before abandonment.
That's not a skull. And what is it doing in the attic? Ooh. I do not want to go up there now. What the heck is a skull doing in the attic? This place.
Farther up the canyon, another cabin is discovered concealed almost completely by terrain and timber. The scale of the operation becomes clearer at this point. More artifacts, remains of camp equipment, and signs of long-term use suggest the site extended much farther into the wilderness than initially expected. This one is driven by progression through discovery, legend, then terrain, then structure, then confirmation. Nothing paranormal occurs, but the tension stays constant because the environment combines isolation with hidden human history. And by the end, the expedition stops feeling like a search for a rumor and becomes documentation of something that physically existed deep within the canyon. The next shocking video of the night comes from Island Uncharted, a Canada-based exploration and history channel focused on locating long-lost wilderness cabins and forgotten structures hidden deep in remote terrain. It is April 25th, 2026, in a remote mountain range, British Columbia, Canada. The expedition starts with uncertainty rather than direction. After years of failed attempts, the explorer finally receives a hand-drawn map from a local source and heads deep into unmapped wilderness far beyond established trails. The terrain immediately becomes difficult: dense bush, uneven ground, and complete isolation.
Bleeding. I think after I have a short little break here, catch my breath, find a cabin. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere here. You don't typically bring blankets unless you're, sleeping in a cabin. Now, maybe they were drug out by an animal, but I definitely feel that there's a cabin here somewhere. Just gonna keep going here and just keep looking. I don't want this to be my sixth failure.
The atmosphere shifts when signs of human presence begin appearing unexpectedly deep in the wilderness. Discarded blankets, damaged plastic, and scattered debris suggest someone occupied the area long after the original trapping routes were abandoned. That changes the feeling of the search.
So I followed the trail of garbage, and I've located the trapper's cabin on this mysterious lake. Oh yes, finally! Oh man, it was kind of hidden down in a low here, out of sight. I looked up and there it was. It's very well camouflaged. I found it. Oh man. Yes. Yes. Hell yeah. Anybody home? Is there anybody there?
Inside, the cabin appears frozen in time. Dust, spiders, old food containers, and deteriorating supplies remain untouched. The environment feels preserved rather than emptied, with nature slowly reclaiming the structure around it.
Now, one thing you want to be careful of when you're cleaning an old cabin like this is stirring up old mouse poop, dust. Definitely not good to breathe in, but as far as I'm seeing, I don't see anything. Okay, interesting. Very first thing I see on the very first page says, bought trapline, summer 2002, $1,500. So I was correct in my assumption. There is definitely a trapline here. 2 for 2 today, that feels good. Oh, wow. This is so cool. Whoever bought this cabin, or this trapline, so to speak, has actually left logs of his trapping activities. November 4th, set 3.
The most important discovery comes through the logbook. Entries from the early 2000s document isolation, failed trap lines, harsh weather, and survival difficulties in the same mountains surrounding the cabin. At that point, the structure stops feeling mysterious and becomes personal. The hardship described in the journal gives context to everything left behind. This one is driven by persistence and isolation. Failed searches, then deep terrain, then signs of life, then documentation. Nothing escalates into danger directly, but the tension comes from how disconnected the location feels from normal access or support. And by the end, the cabin no longer feels abandoned in the traditional sense. It feels paused, with traces of someone else's survival still preserved inside the wilderness. The next video comes from the Sheep Sherpas, a UK-based adventure and exploration channel, blending wild camping, hiking, and paranormal-style overnight investigations in remote locations. It is December 4th, 2025, at Nant City in Bothy, Mid-Wales, United Kingdom. The group arrives at the remote Bothy with a relaxed atmosphere at first. They explore the shelter, joke around, and settle in for the night. But the tone shifts once the location's history is introduced. Stories involving tragedy, isolation, and reports of strange activity inside the building immediately change how the environment is perceived before anything actually happens.
That thing fell over about half an hour ago. No one touched it. So.
That might be a nice.
Yo! What was that? What? Bro, the sword just fell from. What should we?
Shall I just get one fired up?
She's in here. She's in the room.
Shemai?
Bloody hell, look at that. Wow. Yeah, look at that.
While reading handwritten accounts left by previous visitors, another sudden movement occurs nearby. The timing becomes the key detail, because the disturbance happens directly as stories about screaming voices and unexplained activity are being discussed.
Sounds like someone's just pacing back and forth from that room to the other room. Imagine if he heard like...
The atmosphere escalates further when heavy pacing sounds are heard above them. The footsteps move steadily across the attic area, while everyone in the group remains downstairs. No visual confirmation, just sustained movement overhead.
The loudest thud upstairs and banging upstairs. I cannot believe that.
Boys, on a scale of 1 to 10, how scary is that, boys?
That's easy.
That's a 9, bro.
That's a 10.
That's a 9.
Bro, that wasn't steps, that was like a jump.
Bro,
That was a thud, bro.
they were like getting somewhere now.
My eyes are watering.
That was so
Crazy. After I saw that flash.
Evan, you look traumatized, bro.
Then the loudest event of the night occurs. A massive impact hits from above, forceful enough to shake the ceiling and immediately trigger panic inside the room. The reaction becomes completely genuine at that point. Not investigation, just fear response.
That's serious, dude. That's at him.
Later in the night, faint melodic sounds are heard within the building. The group identifies it as distant, classical-style music, something reportedly connected to older stories, tied to the Bothy itself. The sound is subtle, but specific enough to stand out against the otherwise silent environment. This one builds through progression rather than visuals. History, then movement, then footsteps, then direct impact. Nothing is clearly seen, but the structure keeps escalating through sound and reaction. And by the end, the group stops trying to explain what's happening in real time. The focus shifts entirely to getting through the night inside a building that no longer feels empty. Before we get into the next clip, around 70% of people watching aren't subscribed. We're working toward 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And if you're enjoying the video, hitting subscribe really does help. All right, let's get back to it. The last video of the night comes from Bearded Reality Extra, the secondary channel of UK urban explorer Bearded Reality, focused on raw walkthroughs of abandoned and structurally unstable locations across Britain. It is December 1st, 2025 in the Clacton-on-Sea area, Essex, United Kingdom. The exploration begins outside a supposedly abandoned cottage near Clacton-on-Sea. From a distance, the building still appears relatively intact, particularly the thatched roof. But the uncertainty comes from what can't be seen externally. Whether the interior structure is still stable enough to enter safely.
Right, so we're here now. You see where like the glass is broken and all that stuff. I mean, to be fair, we can get straight in. Look at this. This is mad. It's an old thatched place as well. I wonder if that's actually open.
They push through overgrowth and debris before climbing into the building. Inside, furniture and personal belongings are still present throughout the room. That detail changes the atmosphere immediately. Because the house doesn't feel cleared out, it feels interrupted.
No, this is perfectly safe. Unsafe structure, my bottom. Ooh. I need to squeeze past this little bit here. This is dodgy.
The main living area reveals a surprising contrast. A fully built home pub setup remains inside, complete with old pumps and decorative fittings. But despite the preserved interior features, the floor is uneven, and sections of the walls are visibly collapsing around them. The environment feels suspended between habitation and structural failure.
I mean, to be fair, you couldn't even save this now. So this, obviously, it's a single-man pub, isn't it? Yeah. So you have a guy that's been living in here. It's all come back. All this side would have been knocked over and gone. Well, so it's all holding this up. Yeah, this is gone. Saying that though,
Scaffolding holding it up.
You've got.
Before leaving, they find a few remaining personal items scattered throughout the debris, including an old DVD left behind inside the collapsing property. Small details like that reinforce how abruptly the location appears to have been abandoned. This one is defined less by mystery and more by deterioration. Entry, then instability, then progressive structural failure. Nothing supernatural happens, but the tension comes from the condition of the building itself. Because throughout the walkthrough, the main threat isn't what might be inside the house. It's whether the house itself is still capable of standing. And that wraps up another dive into the unknown. If you're into spine-chilling footage and unexplained encounters, hit that subscribe button and stick around. We've got more coming, and it only gets weirder from here.